We're ready.
All right. So today is March the 26th, 2019, and this is Kristopher Pierce and Alex Irvin interviewing Miss
Pam Mathis.
and
Kimberly Leggett.
Alrighty. So thank you all for participating in this interview as part of the record for the history of College Coastal Georgia. So let me just start out by asking you, a little bit about both of yourselves. Now you can decide which one who goes first. So if you want to go first, you're more than welcome to.
And what would you like to know?
Just a little background information, maybe some where you were born at, your childhood, just a little bit of background information before we delve into the actual time here at the College of Coastal Georgia.
Well, I've lived here all my life, and I really enjoy the area. We have a lot to offer. We have St. Simon's, Jekyll, the Golden Isles, and I just like it here. Yeah.
So it must be a special area to keep you drawn to sticking around.
Yes.
And then how about you?
I was born and raised here in Glynn County at the local hospital right around the corner. So I'm a native Glynn Countian. Both my parents are native Glynn Countians.
Awesome.
I was a first-generation college student. I'm the oldest of two children. I have a younger brother. He's 7 years younger than me. I'm married to a native Glynn Countian. And I love it here. I worked at the college for numerous years. Loved it, loved the people, loved the students especially. And it's just a wonderful place to live, and the college is a wonderful place to work.
And with you both being natives of the Glynn County area, let me ask you, what is your favorite part about Glynn County or Brunswick, to be a little bit more specific?
I like the historic areas because I do have an interest in the local history.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
That's for you.
I too very much love any and all the historical aspects. I do love the spring and summer here, that we have nice weather, very mild winters normally.
Yes.
And really all of my family lives here, and I'm really a family person. And so I have a lot of family ties to the area. So that's the main thing I like, is because it's home in a lot of different ways. So.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, what drove you both to, I guess, first of all, drove you to the College of Coastal Georgia, and then after finding out a little bit more about it, I know you both are natives, but once, you figured out, hey, this is maybe where I might want to, work at, what drove you to commit fully to it and then pursuing thereafter?
I've always thought the college was a wonderful place to work, to learn, to expand yourself, and, all the benefits that come with it, meeting wonderful people. And so I've been here a very long time. Mm-hmm.
That's for you?
For me, I was a senior at Brunswick High School, and the guidance counselor approached me with a letter from the Human Resources Office that they were looking for student assistants for anyone who planned to go to Brunswick College at that time.
Yeah.
And so I applied, and I got a job, and I started 1 week to the day after I graduated high school, and I was a student worker. And I knew this is where I wanted to come to college, and so that's what drove me here. Was I also had a job and was able to get to know a lot of the faculty and the staff before I started my classes that August.
That's
So
awesome. So kind of like a 2-in-1 deal.
Yes.
It's awesome. You don't get that as often. So when did you all begin both actually working here at the College of Coastal Georgia?
I started in February 1978,
Okay.
and I started in the Human Resources Department, combination procurement. Back then, Human Resources was called Personnel. And then I had the opportunity a few years later to go to the Vocational Technical Department. And then I applied for a position in our General Studies Division, where I remained until retirement of January 1st, 2008.
Now let me ask you, what What was it like switching throughout different positions, you know, on campus? Was it an easy transition, just because you were kind of still working with some of the same people, or was it a little bit of a challenge at first and then taking some use to get into?
Well, when I started, we did not have the computers in the offices that we work with now. And so when that came to be, it was all brand new, and we all had, to learn this new process. Because before computers, we communicated by typed memos. So then email came along. And that was a first for all of us. But, once you got used to it, it's here to stay, and can't quite do without it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
As for you?
I started work here June the 10th, 1985 as a student worker, and I became full-time March the 1st of 1987. And I've worked all over this campus. Do you want me to, I can name if you want.
Most definitely. If you
I'll
want to
be,
go into maybe some of your favorite positions on the campus, you're more than welcome.
Oh, that's a no-brainer for me. I was a student worker in the business office. When I first started, they split me between the business office and the academic affairs office. And I knew right then academic affairs was my heart. It was just the best of all possible worlds. And then they hired me full-time in the business office. I was what they called the cashier at that time. Now it's the bursar's office, but I was the cashier. Then I moved from there to be a records clerk in the registrar admissions office. It was one combined unit at that time, because we were still a community college at that time. And then when that position, I felt like I needed a change, I too went to work in the vocational technical division. And I was there for a number of years. And then, as fate would have it, I ended up in academic affairs, which I absolutely loved. That was my heart. I had always told the lady who was my supervisor, Sarah Davis, I said, this is where I want to end up on this campus. And I did. And then I ended up switching from there right before I retired, and I went to work in the library as a department coordinator. And I was there for about a year and a half, I think. And then I retired in July 31st of 2017 was my last day on campus.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what is your current position on the campus, and what are some of the duties that you maybe perform throughout a normal day?
Once I retired, I came back and facilitated distance learning classes. And once those were phased out, I joined the library staff, where I am now. And sometimes you don't really have a normal day, because every day can be different. Whatever the students need, if they need help with their computers or locating books, other materials, articles. I do purchasing and, any materials that may come in, books, those are distributed and put in place. So each day is really, it may be routine, but yet different.
So there's a little bit of mixing up each and every day. You don't never
Right.
really get the same day twice.
Right.
I understand. And you've been a great help to me once or twice before.
Okay.
But I've had a few questions about a few things, so I appreciate that as well.
Okay.
As for you?
I am no longer employed at the college after retirement. I did come back October of 2018 and work downstairs in the social sciences department with Dr. Montford as their, I still say secretary. They don't like that word anymore. It's a coordinator.
Yeah.
But I was the program coordinator from the end of October through February 28th, when they hired a new full-time person. So right now I'm footloose and fancy free. I'm not working.
So let me ask you all, with your time here on campus, full-time, what was the campus like during those, different roles that you all had, and during the times when you first began, and then as things changed and you moved around to different positions on campus? What was kind of like the, I would say, the campus, experience? What was the campus like Because I'm sure a lot of changes happened throughout, those years and the changing of positions and things like that.
Well, when I began in 1978, it was a very small college, very compact. We had a small faculty membership, but then as we grew with buildings and our faculty grew as well, for instance, while I was in general studies, there was a high time we had 150 faculty, but that was part-time and full-time as well. So, and that can keep you busy.
I can imagine.
So, but yes, it was a smaller unit, and now we have really expanded. The expansion is wonderful, and we offer so much to the community and students as well.
As for you?
For me, it was just the fact that I felt that we were a family,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody had each other's backs.
Mhm.
And we were very small, so for me in particular, when I would move to a different job, you did have that little bit of a learning curve,
Mhm.
but it just, because we did have a smaller student body too, it just seemed like it was almost a seamless transition, because we pretty much knew the majority of the
Mhm.
students by name. You could pass by anybody and say, "Oh, hey, Steve, hey,"
Wow.
and now unfortunately that's not the case because we have so many. But for me, it was just the fact that the campus has always been very family oriented. I feel like we look out for each other,
Mhm.
and you just feel like you make a positive impact on students and everyone when you come to work. So that's why I enjoy being here.
Now, would you both say that, I guess that's the college's main, I guess one of its main features is the ability to encompass that family feel with, in the midst of us still growing, but at the same time being able to accompany it? Would you say that all is the main driving factor that brings a lot of students down here?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Mhm, I agree. Mhm.
And having the smaller classes too is a benefit, because for me, I would have, if I had to go to a large university where we had 100 or more students in a
Gotcha.
class, I would have been at a loss. But here, I think it's the smaller classes, and the faculty do get to know their students
Mhm.
more, and the students feel like they can approach the faculty or the staff with problems or questions, and so that's.
Mhm.
You think it's still that way? I think it's still
Mhm,
that way
yes,
too.
sure.
Now, let me ask you about both this. What were some of the landmarks that existed then when it was a two-year college and then post the transition? And, some of those landmarks or maybe favorite areas, do you all have any that comes to mind initially?
I do. When I first came here, we were in the process of purchasing what is the Zell Bell Tower. It is no longer standing, but that is one of the first things I remember. And then, other landmarks, of course, are the gates, the designed gates, and new buildings. Yes.
That's
Mhm.
I remember when the library had a fountain out front that would
Really?
work, and it was
It did.
it was really beautiful, and it had lights that would shine, and it just it was a welcoming feature. And then when the library was renovated, I don't remember when they renovated that first time, and that had to be dismantled.
Yes.
And for me, it was just like, it was one of my favorite things because it was beautiful. But
Mhm.
I know times change, and then
Mhm.
also the bell tower, as Pam indicated, because when I was a student here, the bell would chime. It would chime on the hour.
Yes.
And so you knew if your class started at 9 a.m., if you were not in your seat by the ninth chime, that was not a good thing. So I really do miss the bell tower.
Yes.
It was just an iconic part of our campus.
And it played Christmas music during the
Mhm.
holidays.
And you could hear it around town too.
Mhm.
It was really nice.
I'm a little bit upset I didn't get to experience that. I've seen maybe one or two photos of it, but I didn't know it was that. It brought a lot of people together in that
Yeah.
manner. So that's awesome. That's awesome. What do you remember most in your time while working here? I guess if you have one or two favorite memories, please be sure to share. But the one thing that just kind of you think College of Coastal Georgia in your time working here, what is that memory?
Wow.
Well, I would say the lifelong friendships, and you can't really single out any one person because I've made many, many friendships, and they're all very special. Mhm.
It's amazing.
For me, I remember when our conference center was opened, where I think it's where Trio is located temporarily. And for me, that was just, I was still young at that time. And I just thought, wow, our campus is really going to grow with this being here. And we had a big grand opening
Yes.
ceremony, and I was just like a kid at Christmas. I know that sounds really nerdy probably, but it was something to really be proud of. And then as I've watched, the campus center and the dorm student housing
Mhm.
being built, for me, that was just, I just think of this as a growth process. And every time something new was being built, or they would have a groundbreaking ceremony, again, I don't want to say nerd, but I was just really excited because that's what you want to be,
Oh, yeah.
part of a community where there is growth and it's all positive. And so that's my thing, is coming in and seeing all the new buildings and watching as those are being built, so.
Well, since you're speaking on facilities, what were some of the facilities like back then compared to now? And if you had the opportunity to maybe bring one of those facilities back, or maybe even one of those landmarks like the Bell Tower or things like that,
Oh, yeah.
which one, would that be? And maybe give me a little bit more background information on it.
Well, here again, the bell tower. I thought it was so special. And it really was, at that time, the landmark on the campus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, and students that will meet me at the bell tower, or I'll meet you after class at the bell tower. So it was really a landmark.
What is now the Andrews Building used to be our student center.
Mhm.
And when you walk in the front where financial aid used to be, I know they've moved into a nicer area towards the back, which was the bookstore
Yes.
back in our day. But when you would walk in where financial aid used to be, is it still called the Coastal Cafe that's in the
It's
Andrews
the,
Building?
Dockside
Dockside.
That's what
Yes.
it's called, yeah.
For a minute, it was the Coastal Cafe,
Yes.
like a half a minute. But when you would walk in, there were tables and chairs, and we had a little small short order cook
Mhm.
little area over to the side where you could get hamburgers and things like that. And then the bookstore was in the back where financial aid is now. That was our bookstore. And then you had the dean of, they weren't, the deans of student life and student activities were upstairs where computer services is located
Yes.
now. And for me, because of being a student also, that was the place where we would meet and congregate after class. And so that always has a very special meaning to me, just because I associate that with my employment as well as my education. So, and they had pool tables and ping pong tables and
They
all that
did.
in there, so it was the kind of the hangout place. So it's still a special place.
That's amazing, that's amazing. So, with all this new construction happening, or construction that has happened, what are your takes on that?
I think as we grow, we're all excited. And with that, there's more offerings, there's more opportunities. And a lot of our students can remain here with some of their, programs that they want to complete, and they don't have to go away. So this is very, very beneficial to a lot of the families here.
I agree. When the campus center was built, it was just refreshing to walk through and to be able to see students in groups studying or just, having fellowship or whatever. And so to me, that was very important. And it also is something that does help draw people to our campus because they see the growth and they're like, this is a place that I would like for my child to go, or a lot of students, would be interested in coming here because it's a great place.
I agree.
So.
I agree. So with all these changes and the influx of new technology, how would you say that technology has helped the campus? And what extent I guess I could say, would you be looking forward to in the near future as far as technology going and helping grow the campus?
Well, the technology is wonderful. It does change very fast, and keeping up with that is important to offer everyone the latest updated, technical services available, and hoping to keep up with it as we advance.
Having worked in the registrar and admissions office, being part of the Banner implementation team was really a unique experience because, we thought we had it all under control with our former system, which was called OCPC, and I do not know what that stands for. I don't remember. I'm sure it's something very technical. But when we converted to Banner, we just thought, this is it. We're just going to go places with this. And it was a difficult process, but it's been wonderful. And Banner, they always have revisions and everything, but it was wonderful. And one of the main things that I loved about Banner was that you could then do a printed transcript. We used to have transcripts on cardstock paper, and each semester it was my job to run labels that would have your name and your classes and your grades, and we would have to physically stick them on the cards. And that way, if you came in and said, I need a transcript, we would have to go to the little card file, find your name, photocopy it, and put the seal on it. So it was, but back then, that was just the way we did it. But that was one of the main things that I was excited about, is that it meant no more sticking the labels on those cards.
So it made things a lot more easy.
It did.
A lot more fun.
And
Gotcha.
if you got one on there crooked, it just looked, and then you couldn't take it off because you couldn't so, but that was always good.
So I know both of you all mentioned about in students. What was the typical, what were the students like back then compared to now? And more specifically, what was the, atmosphere from the students, provided from the students? What was that like back then compared to now?
Well, back then, I guess what I remember is we had more students that would transfer, because at that time we were just a two-year college. So, and of course now, being a four-year college, like I mentioned before, a lot of them have the opportunity to finish their programs here. So.
My answer is almost verbatim what Pam just said, because we did have a lot of transient students that would come here, especially during the summer semester, but because we were smaller at that time, we did not have a lot of transfer students coming in. But now it's the total opposite. We have a lot more transfers, and I'm assuming we still have a lot of transients that come here during the summer semester to take a class or two.
So what was the classroom experience like for you? I know you mentioned you were a student here. Let me ask you, what was that experience like?
Well, we were under the quarter system when I was here, so we came to class a little bit. Instead of like 3 hours a week, they were 5-hour classes, and so you had to meet for that period of time. And it was just wonderful. We were very small. We had no campus center at that time, no student housing or anything. So we just basically had the 4 campus buildings, which were called the academic building. And then the science building is what the Jones building used to be called. And then this building that we're in now was the Allied Health building. Mm-hmm. And it was a small campus, so it was just so easy to get to and from classes, and you had, you still had time to interact with your friends going and coming, and as I said, that bell tower, when it would chime, you knew you better have your seat taken in class, and
Yes.
because we had one professor who would actually lock the doors when it chimed, because he said if you can't make it to class on time, then just you can wait outside. So.
So with all the changes to the campus in itself, I don't want to forget about the athletics. How have those grown in comparison to now? And what was the school spirit like back then compared to how it is now?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, back when I was a student here, we had men's and women's basketball, and we had softball, and I believe that was the only teams that we really had. And so to see that expanding into I don't even know how many teams we have now. I know we
Wow.
have a lot.
Mhm.
We even had cross country for a little bit, but the interest just did not get really built up for that, unfortunately. I am not a sports person myself. I can't hit a softball to save my life, but I support it on campus. I had I would say the great honor of working very closely with Dr. Carlton, our athletic director, and his secretary at the time, Vanessa Bell, and I would work at the ball games and the volleyball and basketball games and sell tickets and help with concessions and things like that. So I got to know the athletes.
Mhm.
And we had tennis
Yes,
also
we
when I
did.
was here. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And that was wonderful because the majority of our tennis players were from different countries. And so you
Mhm.
got to meet people from I mean, I can't even remember all the different places, but that was so
Everywhere.
wonderful to experience their ways of doing things, and just to even talk to them and hear their voices to me was just so refreshing because their accents, and they thought, of course, that I sounded funny too. I didn't think they sounded funny. But that was wonderful, and then to watch our athletic programs just grow and grow and grow, and I think that that's a big draw for our campus, and I wish that we could get a little bit more student excitement about athletics. I mean, it's more than what it was back years ago because we do have more teams, but actually more community involvement with our sports. If we could get them more involved, I think that would be of great benefit.
Mhm.
Pause, will you pause it real quick? Did you need to answer that?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
My camera, it when it's 30 minutes, it stops recording, so I'm just gonna hit stop and then re-record real
Okay,
quick.
that's fine.
So, perfect time to do that.
You all okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
You just let me know whenever you're ready.
Alright. We're good.
All right. You all ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Miss Mathis, I do want to ask you about the library. Seeing it being renovated, is this the second time it's been renovated?
No,
Oh,
it
wow.
has been done several times just since I have been in the library. But this is the biggest renovation of the library
Please go into
since.
that. I'm excited to hear
Oh
about
my
that.
gosh. Well, we have a new circulation desk. The circulation desk is if any information, if you're brand new or you need help or, looking up something, this is where you come for assistance. And it used to be a very small circulation area, but now it has expanded to a very big desk, you might say. We have more study rooms. We're going to have a few more conference rooms. The writing center and our tutors are going to come back to the library. They're going to have their own space. We've got a new entrance on the side of the library that faces the Continuing Ed Conference Center. There's going to be a new entrance there. And more computers. So it's really exciting, and it just looks wonderful. We should be finished somewhere between May and June. And do come over, stop by, and see our new look.
I'll be graduating in May, but I'll have to definitely come
Okay.
back and take a look. I've been in there throughout the process, and it's been definitely just seeing the transformation from fall semester to spring. It's
Okay.
exciting. Let me ask you about your time and with the library and with the changes and the renovations being done. What is the most exciting thing for you as being a student here and being able to see that as well as working here and going through and maybe studying in there and things like that?
It's getting just a very much needed facelift because
Mhm.
things in today's society with things changing so much that they can become, I don't want to say mundane, but it just needed a facelift because there are so many students that come in there to study, and and I'm so glad that they're going to actually have the tutors back housed in there, because that just makes it so convenient, because there's usually always someone readily available to to tutor a student or help them out with a project or whatever, and the writing center will be very beneficial. The way from when I was a student here, I mean, it's night and day different. I can't even begin to explain to you how different it was. The circulation desk was right when you walk in the front doors. It was right there in front of you. And but again, we were a smaller college, but the first renovation that I remember, everyone on campus was really excited because they knew that meant good things were coming. And then now with this one, I mean, I can't wait to see it myself. I'm going to come back to campus the day they open and just take a really good look, because it gives students a comfortable place, and when you're relaxed, I feel you can study more efficiently, and you just have all the resources right there within your grasp. So I think it's going to be wonderful.
So, throughout the changes that have happened on campus, I know a huge part of any campus are, of course, athletics, but also the organization and clubs that are formed on campus. How have some of those clubs and organizations grown or changed throughout the time of you all both being here?
Well, when I came, I don't think there were any at first. Then they started to develop. I know we had like a nursing club, and there was a Phi Theta Kappa organization, but I haven't really kept up with that as things have gone on. But at first there was not any organizations when I came.
When I was a student here, the main thing was the Student Government Association, and we had the nursing student. They were called bands at that time. I stood for something about academic nursing students, but I don't know what the B stood for. But that was a big group, because nursing is one of our larger programs on campus, and I'm just trying to think, because I did not. I have to be honest. I did not keep up all that much with the clubs on campus, but I know student government, as it is now, was one of the main things that, because they help put on all the different events on campus and everything like that. But I'm not, the rest of them, I know we have a lot on campus now. I can't keep them all straight. There are so many.
I understand. But that's a good thing, though. That's definitely.
Oh, definitely, yes.
With the future, approaching, next month, tomorrow, what are just seeing all the changes, what is the future? What do you think the future holds for the College of Coastal Georgia? And what would you like to see, whether that be you stopping by and just paying a visit, or actually interacting and, doing a few things? What would you like to see here on the College of Coastal Georgia?
Continual expansion, keeping up with the technology, and, and here again, I know I might be repeating myself, but the more we can offer, the better for the community. And, as we continue to grow, because we also have a Camden Center,
Yes.
which is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So, the more we can offer, great. I'm all for it.
I agree.
Mhm.
I would love to just ride by one day and see a new student housing unit being built, because I would know that meant we were anticipating even more growth, and I know that's something that we continuously work for. So that would excite me, because like I said, I like new construction on the campus. I think that would be absolutely wonderful, and I would just like to see the college to continue to grow and prosper, and just be a really good asset to our community, and be a destination where students would want to come when they graduate high school. And of course, we have a lot of non-traditional students. It's not just right out of high school. So even offer programs that would get more non-traditional students interested and give them access to education. I think that would be wonderful.
Mhm.
What would you all say is the College of Coastal Georgia's biggest asset moving forward? What is the thing that you believe is going to really bring not not only students from different, parts of the, state, but also from different countries and other states. What do you believe is that main thing that's gonna, excite the student to say, hey, I wanna attend the College of Coastal Georgia?
Oh, my goodness.
And then you can base this off of your experience as, a student, as a faculty member here, as whatever you feel the need that maybe like, oh, I think this would be a great thing to attract students to come here.
Well, I know that we have grown, but at the same time, we're kind of close-knit campus. They don't have to go so far. Everything is really right here.
Mhm.
And I think that's a plus. If I was a student, I would appreciate that.
Definitely.
And then the other surrounding areas, the beaches, our climate, a lot of this plays into that. So,
Well, I just know that a lot of students, when they graduate high school, they think, I have to go out of my own county, out of my own state to get the full benefits of college. And I'm glad to see that more students are thinking, I want to go to Coastal when I graduate. And of course, I'm just speaking for the local, Glynn County, but the surrounding counties too, they are now, when you see things in the newspaper about the
Yes.
graduates from the high schools, they always say, I plan to go to Coastal, even if they just come here for the 2 years
That's right.
and then transfer, because that's what we're used to, because we were here when we were just a 2-year college. And I think that's wonderful that, the momentum is really building for our campus. And we've got a wonderful administration in place who are very pro-student. They're out in the community really driving home the idea of, come to Coastal. And all of our admissions and registrar staff, I think that they will just keep it going. And I just see a lot of growth. I really do.
Well, I believe that's all the questions I have for you all today. I appreciate you sharing your time and your stories. I really do. And as a senior, being able to hear this on my way out kind of really places things in perspective, how far Coastal's, came within my 4 years being here, but also since it's time from transitioning to a 2-year institution to a 4-year. So I believe this is the end of our interview. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.